Hello team, today we're spelunking into a realm of death and despair with 1001 Spikes. Developed and published by Nicalis, 1001 Spikes covers the adventures of Aban Hawkins. After spending years sick of dealing with his dad's nonsense, Aban one day receives a letter stating that his father has gone missing in the Antarctic and has left behind some items for him. Despite being presumed dead, however, Aban's dad still harasses him to no end, goading the young adventurer into a treasure hunt with a map he's prepared specifically for Aban. With his patience snapped, Aban sets off with one goal in mind: to get the lost treasures of Ukampa and shove them in his dad's stupid ghost face. 1001 Spikes is a callback to the tough-as-nails platformers from the old days. You start off with 1001 lives, and your objective is to traverse the ruins and reach the end. The 1001 lives is by no means a crutch, however, since a gauntlet of traps stand between you and the end of each level. In order to traverse each level, Aban must use his throwing knives and two separate jump types in order to navigate each level without becoming another boneheaded addition to the stage environment. Each stage also comes with a secret pickup in order to unlock new characters and other stages to expand on the game's simple formula as well. While 1001 Spikes is simple in nature, the gameplay and design elements of the game are all rock solid. As mentioned before, Aban only has access to a projectile and two separate jump heights. One might think that the levels are going to be easy because of this, but the guys at Nicalis knew exactly what they were doing with the game. Jumping is an interesting thing because with a short and tall jump, players might think, why the hell would I even use the short jump when I have the tall jump? Nicalis punishes this mentality, however, with well-placed traps and having you fall slightly faster if you ever hit a roof with a tall jump. The level design takes this a step further by not only reminding you that short jumps exist, but actively mix up when tall and short jumps are needed in order to keep the player guessing. Little things with the level design are also really clever, such as the use of foliage to signify safe zones and skeletons to show dangerous ones. This game is also one of the few games that doesn't overly punish you for attempting to get secret collectibles. While secrets are often in deviously placed areas that could lead to death, they also always give you a 1-up until you beat the level so you can practice getting them without fear of losing all your lives because of it. The gameplay, while rather simple, is really solid. Jumps are quick and can be steered in midair, and your projectiles can block other projectiles, which becomes necessary in later levels. Unlocked characters all have unique abilities relating to either their jump or attack that allows for new approaches to each level. President Thompson, for instance, has a double jump on each jump and a machine gun, but the gun is somewhat inaccurate. Meanwhile, Zombie could lose his head once and survive, but his attacks vary based on his body's current state. Everything comes together to provide a tight and well-structured experience for players to die through. There are a fair bit of issues I have with the gameplay, however. One thing that bugged me is that this game is by no means fair. Sure, you have 1001 lives, but first-time players will die frequently and oftentimes without warning to some dirty traps. While this is admittedly a niche kind of platforming game, and store page says it will try your patience, some of the traps in this game are just mean. It's not as bad as I Want to Be the Guy or say a Kaizo Mario ROM hack, but it's still a fairly tough game. At the very least, death is very quick and doesn't take up the player's time, so death essentially becomes practicing a level. On the note of testing a player's patience, one set of stages in particular turns the game's formula on its head and can trip up players really easily. The worst part about this stage as well is that the world afterwards is actually much easier and more reasonable, which feels like an unusual quirk in game balance. Finally, while there are a slew of characters to unlock, they all go through the same stages as Aban, so it kind of feels sad that there aren't any unique stages balanced specifically for the unlockable characters. These flaws don't make the game unplayable, but they certainly did try my patience. 1001 Spikes is presented in a 2D pixel art style. Nicalis is pretty well known for their talent with pixel art between the Cave Story and Binding of Isaac remakes, and 1001 Spikes continues their tradition of well-done sprites. The game uses an art style similar to old Nintendo and Famicom graphics, and while it doesn't stay true to the equation, Nicalis does a great job emulating the experience and making it look good. Each character has very distinct designs and uses a limited color palette quite well, and the stages all manage to give off that grand adventuring vibe also. The music is pretty nice, mixing tones of adventure, urgency, and intrigue among the whole game's soundtrack. There's very little writing in this game, limited only to a quick introduction and ending for each character, but man, those are all well written. The main character's plot premise had me giggling like an idiot, but the unlocked characters have fun introductions as well that somehow brings everyone to these ruins for whatever silly reason. It's a simple game with a simple art direction, but Nicalis did a great job of using what they got and making it work together in a fun fashion. The game engine for 1001 Spikes is okay. The game uses only 150 megabytes of space on your hard drive, which is smaller than most trailers for the game. Controls are fully customizable and allow for keyboard and 360 controller usage, though I believe Sony controllers will need Joy-to-Key for this game. The options menu doesn't offer much, it only offers volume controls, keybinds, and full screen toggling. One neat feature of the game is that you can play it while Alt-tabbed out, which is useful for multitaskers or people with multiple monitors. The game's performance, however, is strange. It uses very little resources, but it has some slight hiccups with gameplay, and recording the game makes it slow down at random intervals. Keybinds are weird. There are 2 rows of keybinds, but they don't tell you which one is for which player, and both rows need to be filled before you can erase a keybind to reconfigure it. The game also tends to crash at the end of a level arbitrarily, but doesn't it actually crash? But this is very rare, and the autosave feature makes sure that you don't lose any progress at all. You may have to wrestle with it a bit, but once everything is set, the game plays well enough on its own. 1001 Spikes is a pretty fun game overall. It's very hard and expects you to get good, but the process of actually getting good is an enjoyable experience, and the rewards are well worth it. The game's got a bunch of content outside the main story as well, which extends the shelf life of the game. Nicalis did a good job with the development of this game, and while it's not a priceless treasure, 1001 Spikes is still a rough gem of a game.